Hello, how is everybody tonight? We are broadcasting live from our RV in Tennessee. We've been up here for a couple of days. My hair, I know tonight looks like it's, I've been wearing a ball cap backwards or something, but my wife has told me she needs to cut it. So probably.
Wait. Who offered to cut it 3 hours ago?
I know. Okay. I'm just saying, well,
I tried to tell him, y'all.
We'll cut it tomorrow, probably, if I feel like it. But anyway, I'm glad everybody's with us tonight. We're going to review some cases that we have been covering, and also going to cover a pretty interesting case, I think, and you'll get my opinion on what they need to look for. But it's a very sad situation in the very least. I want to remind you that we're always going to be covering that Suzanne Morphew is still missing May 10th of last year. And we're doing working on 10 months now of being gone, and absolutely nothing has happened in this case, which is very disappointing, even with the new DA taking office there in Colorado. We did not get back in touch with Andrea Nable's family again. We want to bring that to light still, that she is still missing, been missing since August the 13th of 2019. So we want to keep her in mind also. I have not heard anything on this hiker. The dog came back, Josh Hall. But the weather was too bad for searchers to search for him on the trailhead. So I haven't heard anything yet about if he was found or his remains are found. I haven't heard a thing. I did check on the two toddlers, the ones here that are featured, the Orrin and Orson. And so far, California City and Bakersfield have not released any other information that I've heard of, and that there has no suspect has been arrested or any new leads are following up. I have not heard if there's been any further developments in the family of the girl that we covered here. What was her name again, Dana?
Leah Cabot?
No, this girl, the one that had the Jihad, I think
they call her Jewel.
Jewel.
And her family said that they wanted to come on with us.
Yeah, we haven't heard back from them at all. If we get them to come on one night, we will be broadcasting them also. Let me see. Hey, can you hold on just a minute? I've got my iPhone is actually where I'm using my internet from. Let me see if I can turn on my battery pack here. It will turn it on. You charge it if I can do this here. There it is. Hopefully it will charge it there. Also, the Echo Lloyd, still have not heard anything new on Echo Lloyd's disappearance, but we are following her also. Again, remind you that we are still covering Michael Chambers, and we will keep his face in the news, if nothing else, until something is developed. I think I want to stay on this as much as I do want to stay on Susan Morphew's case. We are still following this. And before we get into this next case, the missing 14-year-old, missing February 11th from Davidson County, said she was groomed by a predator, and she believed, the last thing I heard was that she is with this gentleman, or he's not a gentleman. That'd be loosely as the gentleman, but we are going to stay pretty heavily on this case. Okay, this next case, and I've got so much material on this thing that I'm going to move down here to the bottom of everything. This guy here that we want to cover is Jason Landry. He was going to school at Texas State University in Marcos, Texas, I believe it is, and he left for home. He had just been accepted into a newly audio recording portion. He's a very smart guy. He left for home after exams to go to his parents' house, which was believed to be about 2.5 to 3 hours away. He was driving a small, let's see, I can barely read this thing here. 1 second here. He was driving a small vehicle when he was involved in a one-car accident in a little town called Luring. I think it's Luring, which is about 32 miles away from where he lived. He lived off campus, and he was 21 years old. It's a bizarre type situation. I want to show you a couple of pictures of him, and then we're going to discuss about the case and what we believe happened to him. These are some more pictures of him. Possibly he's got a head injury from the accident and disappeared. But the reason for the accident I think, is key to this case. This is the shirt that he was wearing, we believe, at the time of the accident, and I'll tell you where it was found. And this is a picture of his car. The car had mostly back-end damage, is where they believe the main hit of the car was, and front-end damage too. And they did find a little blood in the car, but it was not enough to be a serious wound, is what I've read. So let me explain what happened. He was headed towards home on a route that took him directly through this town, probably a route that he's taken many times. And he, instead of following the route, once he got to this town called Luring, then he continued on down a deserted road through a pretty bad neighborhood, and continued on out into the country, where it looked like he was going a pretty good clip when he lost control of his vehicle and had an accident. Now, the accident, his phone he was basically using the WAS app. If you know what that is, it keeps a track of your phone and tells you what traffic's like. And he switched over to Snapchat when he got to Luring, right at the area where he took the wrong turn. And that was the last tracking communications that police can find for him. And at that point, he went in a totally different way than he's normally gone, and basically wrecked out in this place. The car was found, the phone was in the car, his wallet and some other things were in the car. And then about 900 feet from the car, they find his underwear, his shirt he was wearing, the shorts he was wearing, and his backpack, and a tumbler that had a little fish in it, dead, which that probably some fish he was going to bring home there. But so he looked like he possibly stripped his clothes off when he got out of the car. Now, everybody's wondering, okay, why should you do this? Well, they found a small bit of marijuana in his backpack, just a small. There's been some rumors that his backpack had a large bit of narcotics in it, but police have came out and said that rumor is false. But they also, detectives say that it's possibility that he is smoking marijuana, and that let me find what I was going to look at. The marijuana was laced with something, and it caused him to hallucinate. And he had.
And from your experience,
and from my experience, PCP is one drug that will make you strip down your clothes, take all your clothes off. And you can lace PCP very easily in marijuana. Now, here begs the question: why would he be smoking marijuana driving down the road home? That doesn't make much sense to me. But I'm going to show you if I can. I'm trying to find the route here so y'all can come along with me on this. I thought I had it all in a. Okay, this is actually the route that he normally took. Texas State University to right outside of Houston in Missouri. It's called Missouri City, Texas. And he doesn't even get that far. He goes just down to what they call Luring, Texas, where this road falls off there. We're in Texas. And this is the route that he normally took just to get down. He would go right through Luring, Texas, and turn right there and be on the main road again. But instead, he didn't take a right. He went straight down through this pretty rough neighborhood, gets on a thing called Austin Street, then to Spruce Avenue, down to a thing called Flat Salt Lake Road. And I'm going to show you about this. Let's see here. This is how the road goes down through this neighborhood. I'm in this East Austin, then to Spruce Avenue, and to Spruce Avenue it goes into this area that's nothing but basically oil wells. And I'm going to tell you, I tried to take a marker and show you, but I wasn't able to do it. But let me just show you here. This is the intersection in the daylight. Now, this is at night when he's traveling. This is the intersection in the daylight. He would normally come to where that white van was, down that road, take a right at that main intersection there. So, I mean, it's pretty well lit area, but it's still, I think it'd almost be impossible for him to just get lost and keep on going, because you'll be able to see this. Once he starts down this road, it is totally different than what you would see. Look, this is more of a uptown, a little small little town. It's street lights. It's got your red lights right there, and then, but this is going straight. Now, if you go straight down this road, this is a type of neighborhood you're going through. I mean, it's straight down. No, if he didn't make the turn like he normally would have, he just went straight ahead.
Down Magnolia?
No, straight. Down East Austin.
Okay, sorry.
He just, if he goes straight, yeah. Magnolia was what he needed to be on to the right, okay?
Okay, sorry.
This is the type of neighborhood it was. See, I mean, there's definitely different than what he would be normally going on. I mean, you'd be able to immediately tell, hey, I made the wrong turn, okay? You would continue on down this through houses. There's no street lights there on this road here at all. So it'd be dark. I mean, he would immediately be able to tell that he is not in the same spot that he normally goes. It's not.
They're loving your visuals.
Who is?
The crew.
Okay. Well, once he gets on the Spruce, it becomes an even shorter, little small road. It's country. Now, it does have street lights there, but it's nothing like you would normally see on what he would be traveling. You know, I mean, he's used to traveling a regular known highway. And then you turn in the Salt Flat Lake Road. Now, all of this is just, you come through a bunch of intersections. I want to show you one. Hold on one second here. They'd have, this place also is known as County Road 128. It's all one road. What, did you have a question?
Okay. Nay folks said, I'm pretty sure this was only his second time driving it. And Beach Bum said, did someone ram him intentionally? Was the car found? Yes, the car was found.
Car was found, but I'm gonna show you in a couple of minutes what basically some other pictures I have in here, but there's a bunch of roads off the side of this road here that he could have taken, but the wreck did not happen until he gets on the gravel portion of this road. They believe he spun out in the gravel, so obviously he was going faster than the speed limit. His father wondered if he was being chased by somebody, but why would you strip off all of your clothes? That's the one big thing, and run away.
Even his pants and everything?
It said his underwear, shirt, and everything was found, shorts and everything were found in the road.
Yeah.
So, that would be a key there. But it does. See, you would have to know which way to go. I mean, I don't know that he could have just went straight. He did go down a Salt Flat Road, but he could have very well taken the right, but he went straight on down this road.
There's a definite Y there.
Yeah. And see, the road here too is, there's out in here, there's no lights, and he's trucking on down this road. I feel sure that, who said he's only traveled this road twice?
Some NA folks said, I'm pretty sure this was only the second time he had driven this road.
He's been in that town. He's been in that Texas.
How long?
For a couple of years, the way I understood it. He's 21 years old. It's not like he would start there right away. You usually go to college when you're 18. Did they know that for sure? How did they know that?
I don't know.
But I think it would be very easy to tell if you were off the main road. This was one spot that I thought maybe he might have wrecked, because it's the gravel portion. The road turns around to a gate, and these trees are messed up in here. This is another angle of it right here. This road here, it makes a kind of a turn there, almost a thing. And these are the trees inside. If you can see there, it looks like the trees are damaged. The whiteness on the trees, but
interview with the father, that's how she knows that.
Okay.
So it was only his second time.
This is as far as the thumb goes on this particular one on Google Earth. But you can see this is I think he would recognize pretty quick.
Not if it was only his second time. If his dad said it's only his second time, then no. Tommy, they said he had pulled up Snapchat. He could have missed his turn watching Snapchat.
Right, but he stopped at a red light right there. Yeah. Pretty good. If his second time, don't you think he had on like the map?
I don't know, but the
map to tell him how to go.
What I'm telling you is, when you look down at your phone and then the light turns red, turns green, and you're ready to go, your mind's not thinking, I need to turn.
Well, he's out in the sticks here. There's nothing out there, and he's moving on. This is that other side. I was trying to get a good picture of that.
So the father knows.
Nancy Grace. This is where the church portion on the church website said, and I think his parents are either somewhere involved in the church or said that the wreck happened. And I located this. This is way out there, away from where he was supposed to turn. It looks like it might have been 10, 15 miles. But once you get on this gravel road down there, that would be a pretty key sign that, hey, I'm on the wrong spot.
Beach Bun has a question.
Okay.
I wonder if he ended up on private property.
According to where the car was found, no. He was on a gravel road section.
Shout out to Lake Superior girl. She's listening to us on the way home from work.
No, great. Absolutely great.
Glad to have you.
But this was but I could not find any type of pictures for that. Yes.
Spaghetti says, geez, how far can a naked guy get on foot?
Yeah, since February.
That's crazy.
This is actually the map of the area right about where that 128 is where the church area. But see, I don't see where he could have went around a sharp curve in that area to hit something unless he was trying to make that turn right there and lost control. But all of these are like oil wells out in here. I mean, it's very, very, very desolate area. Very desolate.
Okay, Brittany says the WhatsApp app quit at the light when he opened Snapchat.
Right, exactly.
And somebody said, how did you know that?
Well, that's what the police are saying, that they have his phone.
Yeah.
And they said the last known recorded ping, whatever, for his phone was at that intersection. So why? I mean, he was either on Snapchat talking to somebody, and the problem with Snapchat is it disappears after 15 seconds. Now, they do have that. The company does, but they're real reluctant to share that information with police for whatever reason.
Beach Bum, if I get to a place there ain't street lights, I'm turning
around. This is a picture. Hold on one second here. This is a picture of the actual road he was on, where his clothes were found and where the backpack was found. It's a long ways down the road there. And you can see at night there's no lights. This was taken when deputies recovered his stuff that night. There's no lights down there. The lights you see are the headlights of the car, the sheriff's department's car, or the car of somebody else out there. So, I mean, once you get into an area right there, you can pretty well say, hey, I'm on the wrong road. And it was out there for a long time. And also, here's what they found. They found here, he had these, looked like a bunch of blunts made up, which if you know what blunts are or not, they're basically cigars that have all the tobacco's been taken out. Most of the tobacco's been taken out, and you put marijuana in there. And they're saying right at the top, it is possibility the weed was combined with an unknown hallucinogenic substance, deputy said. And that would give me the on rise that that maybe he was smoking something that like PCP laced marijuana and did not know it, and he got out of here wrecked and began to take his clothes off. I mean, I've seen all kinds of stuff. People do stuff on PCP and they will absolutely take their clothes off. It's just they can't stand anything on their body.
Mary asked, was he a homosexual? And
I don't there's no indication of that. And what would that matter though, unless you think maybe he's going to meet somebody out there? But I don't. Listen, he went long ways out in this area to meet somebody. If he was going to meet somebody, I mean, a long way. He lived off campus in his own apartment. It's not like he couldn't meet somebody there. This is basically, this is 2 months after the disappearance. Investigators with the sheriff's department released some new information and gaining access to his phone and his computer. The data was compiled to the following timeline. On December 13th, 10:55, Jason leaves his apartment in San Marcos with the intent to drive to his parents' home in Missouri City, Texas. Now, he contacted them.
He told his parents he was coming.
Yes. Right. He'd be there in 2 to 3 hours. Now, we're not sure at what time, if he called right away or if he called and his parents knew he was leaving after class. You know, could be. On December 13th at 11:05, 15 minutes later, Jason drives his vehicle on Highway 80 and passes under the I-35, I guess, overpass there in San Marcos. Now, the reason they have this, they're pinging his phone, and I'm pretty sure they probably have traffic cams. At 11:07, which 2 minutes later, he continues to drive south on Highway 80, entering Caldwell County. Now, this is going through to where he takes his turn into luring. 11:11, which is 4 minutes more, Jason is in Martindale, Texas, continuing south on Highway 80. It's like a 4 lane, I think it is, what I've seen. 11:15, he passes over SH 130 on Highway 80. 11:24, he enters Luring, Texas on Highway 80. He stops using the WAZ app, opens Snapchat. He passes through the intersection of Magnolia Avenue and East Austin Street. This is where he would have turned to take the route that he was supposed to take, back down on Magnolia and then get back on the main highway towards where his destination was, his parents' house. And that was where Jason's digital footprint stops. It's believed that he continued on to East Austin, to Spruce Street, and turns into Salt Flat Road. Now, we're not talking about a mile or two. We're talking about a good ways out there. Says here at 12:31, Jason's wrecked vehicle was found. That's 67 minutes later, basically, on Salt Flat Road. Investigators say a single vehicle collision, most likely from overcorrecting on the gravel road, spinning out off the roadway and crashing the rear into a tree. But the thing has got a lot of damage to that car. He could have. They first thought, well, maybe he hit his head and he suffered some type of concussion and doesn't remember who he is, and that's very well could be. But why would you take off your clothes and all this? But a 67-minute window between Jason's last digital footprint and the discovery of the crash scene that investigators focusing on. Investigators say Jason's phone, which was found between the driver's seat and center console, was on and had a signal. So they are still trying to figure out why it appears unused since the intersection of Magnolia Avenue. So there, they went on Snapchat, but they, I don't know the answers to this. This is one of these surely a bad situation. Jason describes 6'1", 170 pounds. It was brown hair, brown eyes, and facial hair. Anyone having information about the disappearance, contact the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office. Now I'm going to tell you, Texas AccuSearch or AquaSearch or whatever it is, that thing, they went out there and did a pretty extensive search with helicopters, with drones, with heat seeking on the helicopters, with horseback, on foot. They did everything, and they searched that whole area and didn't find anything. They ran some dogs out there, and dogs led them to a pond that is within the area. They drained the pond completely and did not find him. So, that's at least, oh, I know. I mean, it's a sad situation. I mean, that there was an accident. You know that. There's a bunch of theories involved here. One, somebody said, just like his dad, maybe he got into some type of verbal road rage confrontation with somebody going before he got to the intersection, and instead of turning, he goes straight at maybe a high rate of speed, because the car is wrecked. I mean, it's not just run off the road and dented. There's a couple of other pictures of it here. Here's the front of it. I mean, he tore the front up, this thing here. I mean, it's pretty crashed up. It looked like he tore the front end up of the tire there. But the main damage is in the rear of the car. And you see the X's there. Those are just marked evidence. Don't open these doors. Basically, they sealed the car until they could get in there and take DNA. And they did find a small amount of blood, but it's not enough to be, and nobody else's DNA was found in the car, the way I understand it. The passenger door was locked. So there's no indication that anybody else is in the car with him. But the fact that his clothes were found, his underwear, his watch, and you can think about that. Somebody's trying to get everything off of them. They don't even want nothing on them.
Their skin is crawling.
They take their watch off, their underwear off, their shirt off, their shorts off. I don't know. There's no mention of shoes, but I don't know. And basically found 900 feet away from his vehicle. So, and by his father, I think, found some of the stuff and then turned over that, which I don't know why. Well, police right now, they could, when they first find the car, they think, well, he's had a wreck, and they, he's probably gone trying to find somebody to help him.
Time out. But the police were there. They notified the father at 2:00
because they found his backpack, and that's how they knew who he was.
And the father comes to the scene of the accident, gets there about 2 to 3 hours later, and finds some of his clothing 900 feet from the car, from the wreck. I don't understand why the police hadn't already confiscated all that stuff.
It's like I said, if you're out there, and I've worked accidents before, if I'm out there on the side of the road and we're trying to,
you're walking the road looking for
evidence. No, I'm not. No.
Well, I would be.
Well, no. A lot of these people, they might think we're going to try to find him. He's off to the side of the road. He's involved in this accident. Maybe he's hurt himself. He's off to the side of the road. But they're not going to go try to find evidence down the road. They think, well, maybe he's out walking, trying to get help.
Walking down the road trying to find him and run across his underwear and all this stuff.
I know. Well, I'm just saying that's not.
Okay.
That's not a
Skitty said, how long after he disappeared did they drain the pond? Do you know?
I don't know. I know that the Texas Aqua Search, or whatever that is, that main searcher group, they did search and they did drain that pond after that, after they had the dogs. Let me go over here to his poster. I think the poster says about it. One of them did.
The law wasn't there when the dad showed up. He said the officer was already in bed when he called him at the scene.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, a lot of these smaller departments like that, we lived in Tennessee for a while, and
that picture,
they call somebody out from the scene.
That picture that you put up of my cousin Jason Landry went missing. That picture does not look like the pictures you showed of the other guy.
Yeah, but they're all the same guys. Just one got facial hair and one doesn't.
Well, but this one's heavy set here, and the other one's skinny.
Well, you think they're heavy set. They're not really heavy set. I've looked at 2 or 3. But now, can you read that? Because I can barely read that. 21-year-old Jason Landry disappeared after having a one-car accident near 2365 Salt Flat Road in Caldwell County, Texas, December the 14th, 2020. It is unknown what color, style, or type clothing Jason was wearing. Well, that's not what I read in the other. Jason had a scar on his ankle, possibly the right ankle. Jason was medium length hair, and he is believed to have a goatee. If you've seen Jason Landry since his reported disappearance, and if you know his current whereabouts, or if you have any information on his whereabouts concerning Jason's disappearance, please call. Now, what they're saying is maybe he's hit his head.
Can you show the car again? Beach Bum wants you to put the car up and leave it up for a little. Not forever, but
this one right here. Is that what you're talking about? The back of the car is messed up. They figured that is where the first damage, and it doesn't look like it's been hit from the back, like with a ramming of another vehicle to me. It looks like he did spin out and hit a tree or something.
Well,
the bumpers tore off. The bumpers tore off, that's for sure. The first picture shows the bumper tore off. I just don't, he had to be going a pretty good speed, I think,
His
to
father
do that.
said the tow truck driver drove right by the clothes.
Didn't even see it.
Mm.
And it may be where he did not.
Don says you wouldn't look that far away, 900 feet.
I wouldn't if I was working the accident. Just if I was coming out there to work the accident, I would probably walk the sides of the road looking for the guy to see if maybe he had gotten hurt and he passed out on the side of the road.
High five. You and I don't leave me
Okay.
hanging.
All
We
right.
both agree.
All right. But I don't know. And if I'd have found, it's hard to believe that the police didn't find the clothes in the
Okay,
road.
thank
I
you.
think that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So I was right.
You're right.
Okay.
I
Wait a minute.
but
Somebody asked.
so we're not 100% sure that he
There's-
took off his clothes, but it does appear he did. To me, it did by what I've read.
Because he was wearing a shirt. A picture was taken of him that night in the shirt,
Yeah.
and his dad found the shirt on the road.
Right.
So-
And the shorts.
Yeah.
And his underwear and his watch and his backpack. Inside the backpack had his tumbler too, the dead fish in it.
Yeah.
And his inside the backpack was where the marijuana was, and some gaming stuff, like gaming console stuff.
Right.
So
Beach Bum said, "Could someone box him in and hit him with 2 cars?"
there's possibility. I mean, all of this is possibility, but what?
Nay said there was wood in the back bumper area, so that suggests a tree hit.
Yeah, I don't. Here's my thing of what I just. First off, I can't understand him doing this. He's old enough to know you don't drive high, and if you're driving through these little towns where you haven't driven a whole lot, it's difficult for me to understand why he would smoke. And like the deputy said, he may have been smoking marijuana that's laced with something. Why he would drive high to going home when he very well could have used it home. He may have smoked some prior to leaving the house. That's more probable because his marijuana and stuff was inside his backpack. They didn't find any loose in the car. So he might have gotten high and he might have been laced with something. And it was 30 miles before he experienced anything that might have caused him to think that maybe somebody was after him. He might have sped down this road because he was hallucinating and thinking that somebody was after him, and then it caused him to have a wreck. That's just one theory that I think if I was the police, I would test that marijuana that was seized.
Anna said, "Why didn't they take his clothes for evidence?" Which I agree. And the other one, there was another question. Wait a minute. What shouldn't the car have been processed as a crime scene?
Well, it was.
Okay.
Because you can see if you look at these pictures here, the first picture there, it's got the red X on the door and the red X on the back door and up at the roof. That's crime scene tape. When they're going to have the wrecker carry it back to the yard and they're going to process it later, they will seal it, and that way they can testify in court. We sealed it with evidence tape, and the evidence tape was not broken when we went to do any stuff inside. This is the shirt the shirt that's found on the road, and apparently he had taken a picture earlier in the day, and I kind of think this is a picture earlier in the day of him with that shirt on. So it's just the fact that the shirt and the watch and the shorts and the underwear and everything was found in the road, and the backpack wasn't taken out and strewn. You know what I mean? If it,
that guy does not look like the guy in the poster.
Well, all right. This is another pictures of him right here. Okay. This is a cousin of his. My cousin, Jason Landry, went missing last night in Luring, Texas. He was headed to Houston from San Marcos. Police found his car off Salt Flat Road in Luring. His phone, wallet, backpack were still in the car. That's not correct information right there.
Okay, but am I the only one that doesn't see the resemblance between those two things?
Well, facial hair does a lot, you
Well,
know.
he lost some weight at college instead
Right.
of gaining weight.
Right. I mean,
Of
this
course,
is another.
marijuana might have made it. No, that makes you hungry, don't it?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
But that is, I mean, just a different view of him, and those two are a different view of him too. So it's just.
Man, they just like two different people.
It does, but see, the clothes, the backpack was not found in the car. It was found outside the car. The clothes were way down the road from where the backpack was found. So, that is my theory, is that probably the stuff was laced with a hallucinogenic drug like PCP, and probably unbeknownst to him. Probably unbeknownst to him. And we're not saying this is 100%. This is just some of the evidence of what I see. And after seeing the deputy say that, in here that there is a possibility that weed was combined with an unknown hallucinogenic substance. So I hope they send this to the lab and find out what if that weed was laced with anything.
Was it a real rural area?
Yeah.
You Google it and see, was it woods and stuff?
Yeah, it's where they have.
I mean, where the wreck happened.
Yes, it's where. Well, you can see in there that it's very rural out there. It's where they got.
So he could be lost anywhere in those
oil tankers out in there. This is in the daylight. This is the type of area it was in the daylight. Right here. I mean, yeah, there's woods, there's brush, there's everything. That's why this Texas search area, I was trying to find another picture. This is, there are some houses and worker camps and stuff out in there, but there's no,
okay.
And this is the paid portion, the unpaid portion, like in here, it's way out there.
Okay. Spaghetti's got a question. Skitty, I mean.
Okay.
Okay. I must have spaghetti on my brain. So let's say he smoked drugs, wrecked, and wandered off. What happened next? Succumbed to hypothermia, got shot on someone's property, got hit walking by the road by another vehicle. Sorry, I got choked.
I don't he walks on somebody's property and they shoot him. That not out in here.
He was out of his mind. I mean, what would you do if some naked man showed up at your door?
Right, but they'd call the police and tell them some naked man showed up at my door and I had to shoot him. I'm not going to take him out in the backyard and bury him. I just don't think. There's just way too much in Texas, law out in Texas, that if you had to shoot somebody, they're not going to prosecute you for it on your own land. You shoot a naked man on your own land, that there's no reason why they wouldn't call the police. I mean, Texas is a very stand your ground state, so I don't think that would be something for him to worry about. And if you look at this is way out there in the sticks where supposedly his car wrecked. I mean, there's nothing out there but oil wells all over the place. There's tanks and oil wells and ponds and brush and desert and just, it's very, very rural, and it's on a gravel road. All right, let's just say he goes out there and he has this wreck and he's high and he strips his clothes off and he runs out into the woods. Well, my best thing to say he probably died of hypothermia out there, because you remember now, this is Texas. This is where the area that had all the bad snowy weather just the other day. So, and you're talking about this happened in February. So he's been gone a month, over what, 2 months now.
It's happened in December, not February. This
December.
is February. December.
Okay, yeah, December. I
Okay,
apologize.
listen. Midwest Ghostwriter said you obviously don't know Texas if you don't think you show up on someone's property and get shot, especially where there are oil wells on the property.
Okay, fine, but do you bury the guy in your backyard? No, I'm saying Texas is a stand your ground state. I think if, you show up naked on somebody's property, it's oil wells out there, they got security, they shoot him, they call the police. I don't think, oh, well, we shoot the guy and bury him out in the backyard. I mean, there's not a sheriff's department, I believe, that would prosecute anybody if a naked guy shows up on their oil well site out there. But most of these oil well sites are not manned. These are places, if you drive out through Texas, in the pictures that I saw earlier from this land, they were these big okay, best thing I can tell you is Chris Watts. You remember how he went out to this place where he had the tanks and they had that old Texas rig that's going up and down? That's the type of things you see out there. Sure, could he have crawled inside this tank? I doubt it, because these things are little bitty things. Chris Watts barely got those babies in there. But I just don't think, I know Texas well enough. I know people who live in Texas, know some guys who work in Texas Rangers, but I just don't believe that it's a place where if a naked man shows up and he's trying to invade their place, they shoot him. I could see that happening, but I don't say, hey, let's go out and bury him in the backyard type thing. I think they call the sheriff and say, hey, this guy was trying to break in our house naked. There's nobody in Texas that's going to prosecute them for that. That's what I'm saying. I know Texas well enough to. I just don't, unless he walked up on something illegal, a grow, a meth lab, stuff like that. But then you're talking about things that, for things like that to happen, coincidence would have to be super, super great. What I think happened is just my opinion, but I think he probably was smoking something that was laced with something, has a wreck, strips his clothes off of him, goes out into the woods and dies of hypothermia, or he falls into something, a lake or a well, or, we don't know yet. But I know that they searched by horseback, by helicopter, by FLIR, forward-looking, infrared. They searched all the stuff and didn't find anything. And they used dogs. They followed it down to a pond. They checked the pond by draining it and didn't find anything in the pond. So, could they have missed something? Could they have missed another area? Sure. And I think sometimes if he is deceased, they will. But now we got to find out. I wish that the police would at least test this marijuana to find out if it indeed had been laced with something. That would be a huge supporting factor, and am I right on all this? No, I may not be. I may be totally off.
Okay, Sam
it's just my opinion.
Sam says that he doesn't think a tree could have done that damage. He says, I say this because my son had a bad accident years ago and hit a tree really hard. The rear of the car doesn't bear that kind of damage.
Well, I don't know. Could be. It depends too, the speed of the car, at the angle he did. I actually saw a Corvette once that hit a tree and took the Corvette in half. Just totally took the whole car in half. So, but he was going about 90 miles an hour when he hit the tree. We don't know the speed. We don't know the angle. He may not have been hit by a tree. He may have been hit by somebody else. We don't know.
How often are drugs involved in the crime? 9 out of 10? ?
I don't know, because this is a situation where we don't know why. There's indications from all I've read about this case that he did take his clothes off. Then if that happened, I think drugs are pretty much 100% involved in it. it doesn't appear to be taken, the clothes being in the backpack and taken off, you know, not from not from everything I've read about this case.
Okay, so Juicy said maybe it was picked up by some bad people. Well, to me, that you'd have to be insane or really bad to pick up a naked man running down the road.
Yeah, I mean, all of that is possible. Tell me if you see anything on my screen, because I'm trying to go back here and read it and see real quick, see if I missed something.
Any chance he could have staged his disappearance?
I mean, why? He
to call his
he
parents.
He had just got into a prestigious film recording, sound recording school too. That what they're saying, he had just got into a pretty prestigious part of the school. That's what I, you know. Oh, let's see. I'm gonna read this real quick, and y'all go ahead and talk to her. And
I think that one of the officers that we'd listened to an interview said that it looked like he may have gone off the road and over.
It says this is what one of the investigators said most likely caused an overcorrection on the gravel road, spinning off the road, eventually hitting a couple of trees and a barbed wire fence. That's what they said. Okay, it says here, first responders didn't enter the car when it was found. Said it was towed to the impoundment yard, and the next morning, the father of Jason, who is the register's owner, went inside and found the phone between the driver's seats and the console. Man, I don't know why these people won't. Said his father, Kent, also went to the scene of the crash and found Landry's clothes, including a shirt, socks, shorts, underwear, slides, and a wristwatch 900 feet from the crash site in the road. So, yeah, his father's the one that found his clothing.
Okay,
socks, underwear, the slides. Yeah, it's a small police department. 900 feet from the crash site. Investigators believe he was wearing the clothes before the crash, but there's no signs the clothing was removed forcibly or through coercion. So they believe he did remove the clothes himself. That's what they're saying.
I'm sorry, but this reeks of incompetence.
Well,
late at night, they didn't want to work the scene. I mean, what? I'm sorry, but if I was the mother, I'd be ticked. I'd be all over them.
Well, it's like I was telling. Get a drink here. Oh,
I'm sorry. That makes me angry.
Do you remember we were living in Tennessee on that little farm up there, and that night, that two separate occasions, there was a plane that was flying treetop level and blinking their lights on and off. I mean, even, me with all my working narcotics pretty much said, hey, they're trying to drop drugs, and, planes fixing to drop drugs. And I called up to the sheriff's department. They said, we don't have anybody working tonight. Well, they have to call somebody out from the house. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
You remember the time also our farm had a big, long 1,500-foot driveway. A car come up the end of the driveway, stopped, cut his lights out, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm the one that had to go out with a shotgun and try to find out why they were out there, because the police didn't work. In the smaller places like that, they didn't even have a policeman out there. Now, this town where he ran through, he did go through, is fairly, I'd say probably looked like it had maybe 10,000 people. You could look up and see what the population of Luring, Texas was, or Caldwell County, maybe, Texas.
Siri, what's the population of Caldwell County in Texas?
Sheriff's
One
Department.
moment. The answer is 43,664 people.
How big is the Sheriff's Department?
You didn't tell me to ask Google that. How big is the police department in Caldwell County, Texas?
I found this on the web.
I'm missing what they're saying.
Okay. Yeah, I guess what bothers me about this whole situation is how he can just vanish. You know, all right, let's for instance, let's say he was on some type of hallucinogenic drug, and he did somebody gave us something here.
It was Diwali. I said thank you.
Okay. Maybe say that he was on his way home, and say that either before he started on the trip or during the trip, he was smoking marijuana, which is no indication that he was. There was nothing in the car mentioned about having any drugs in the car other than in his backpack. But all right, let's just say before the trip, he smoked some of this marijuana that was laced with PCP. Then I'm not sure how long that would stay in his system. You know, it might be in his system for a couple of hours. So once he got on the road, he could have got the full effect from it. He went off of this gravel road, and he wrecked and stripped off his clothes and headed into the bush or something. And if that is the case, they'll find him sometime. It may take a while.
Somebody said if someone caused an accident, they may have and killed him, may have taken him the body with them to get rid
Why
of it.
strip his clothes off?
No,
I know.
I think he did that.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Nobody's going to take the time if they've hit and killed somebody to take their clothes.
But it says they didn't think. Yeah, they didn't think that it was forcibly. It didn't look like it was forced him to take him off. And I believe that the police see this, you know, when it is very baffling. Yes, it is, Miss BB. I agree with you. It is baffling. I do think it's the most strong evidence that I can see that maybe he was under the influence of some type of hallucinogenic PCP is the one culprit that I am going to call it, is the fact that his clothes were taken off of him. I mean, that he took his clothes off. I mean, it's characteristic. If somebody's on PCP, they'll take their clothes off. Not all the time, but they will a lot. They'll take their clothes off. They don't want anything on their skin. So that could be it. That would be big evidence. But now, where is he? You know, did he run into the woods? Did he keep running? Is he seeing things? Is he, you know, we don't know. I mean, he's been gone a long time for him to just disappear into the woods. But,
well,
you know,
Sketty says, I wouldn't think he was on foot. I would have thought that 21-year-old kid didn't want to be at the scene of a wreck at the time. They didn't know the phone was in the car or he was naked on foot. I don't think he was in his right mind. I think it was laced with PCP. Just from the stories that you told me about people you arrested, that one girl that kept stripping everything off, y'all kept trying to put everything on her, and she kept stripping it off.
Absolutely, just take everything you want off. Easier to find him now in the bush that he could spring when the leaf out. Then yeah, I agree. It would. T.S. Jackson said that it would be easier to find him now. And plus, you know, right after he was missing, they put up helicopters with, heat-seeking infrared on them to see if they could try to find him. So I think the biggest fear is you're going to say bye?
Bye, y'all. I'm going over to I didn't mean to point your ear. I'm going over to my dad's. I told him I'd be back at 8 to clean the kitchen.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. But I think that with synthetic marijuana, yes, but K2, I haven't heard of synthetic marijuana being one to cause you to strip off your clothes. But the one thing, PCP was, I think, the biggest, but it could be anything that has a hallucinogenic effect to it could cause you to do strange stuff, you know. It is bad, it is horrific. You're right, Rhonda. It very well it is. Want to say thank you to all the mods that we have on this channel. They really keep this channel clean for us. We do appreciate you very much. Yeah. And I asked you tonight to say a prayer for Medina. She is having a test tomorrow on this thing she hears in her neck, on her ears, both of her ears. She hears a kind of a swooshing sound, and I kind of think it might be tendonitis. I think they call it, but I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, so if you could say a prayer for, I'd appreciate it. There was no blood on his clothing, according to the father, and there was only a small amount of blood in the car, just a very small amount. And I think, you know, might have been, you know, you think if somebody has a wreck, no matter how they have a wreck, my first thing was they could hit their head and cause them to have concussion, which would be would make them maybe go off, lose their memory, do anything, but that doesn't make you strip your clothes off. Not that I've ever heard of, you know. So I think that I think that's going to have something to do with a drug, whether or not, you know, it could have been from the marijuana, could be from something else he was doing also. But I really can't. The thing that really gets me about it is a guy 21 years old driving back to his parents. Why do something that's going to cause you to be intoxicated on the way home? He lives in Texas. He could do it there. He could do it when he got home. That's the only thing. And maybe he got slipped something, you know. I don't know. Carol, he said 911 call from a firefighter said he saw blood on the street. No mention of it after that. I have not seen that. Yes, you said high blood pressure causes that. Yeah, I read where high blood pressure causes that. A few things do. Her blood pressure is usually very low. That's the thing. Her blood pressure is usually 115 over 60. It's very low. Don't know. I'm just praying that it's not something serious, you know. He has been gone since I think December the 20th. Yeah, Erica Lloyd, I'm not 100% sure that that's not going to be a homicide, and I'll tell you why. The car was not just wrecked, it was vandalized, and there was a lot of stuff in the car they said that would lead them to believe that it's not just an accident. Also, she was supposedly seen walking down the road with another male a couple of days after that accident. It's just certain things with that case that I'm anxious to see what the autopsy comes up with, the complete autopsy, you know, if they can, you know, if they can find out. I don't know how, you know, they found a skeletal remains. So if the skeleton had been moved through dogs and animals moving it apart, they may never find out. But if they do see that the bones in the neck were broken, not just moved apart, or, you know, they can tell to a certain extent. Yeah, I think it was a murder too. I think they can. It's going to be difficult because they don't have anything to work with as far as the no, you know. Uh, Sam, you say you don't go for the naked guy theory. Well, what do you? Well, they know he took his clothes off because his clothes are in the yard in the middle of the road. His watch, his underwear, his shirt, and his shorts. They know he took his clothes off. So I don't know what. What do you think? I'm open to all. You tell me what y'all think, because I'm not saying that I'm right. Rebecca, I was thinking about death by misadventure. Firefighter who found the wreck is related to the fire chief. It's his dad, I think. Hit him and the cover up. I don't know. They didn't find any damage on the car from another car. They didn't find any damage. Like they didn't. Looking at the car. There's no indication he was hit by another car. You can very well tell if one car is collided into another car. Um, I'd like to, Carol. I'm gonna try to find that call, that 911 call for sure. If the clothes were found 900 feet from the accident scene, why would they have of his come out of his body? It makes no sense to me. Yeah, the clothes were found by the father too. That was a weird thing. The police never found them. Don't know if the clothes were found inside out. But they said it didn't appear that they were forcibly took off of him. I don't know how they know that. Um, I'm gonna try to find that 911 call. We'll stay on this. I'd like to, I don't know. I've been checking it everything. Why were the cops on the dirt road in and have a car towed? Sounds like police didn't do anything but call dad and have the car towed. It sounds like, yeah. I know that Dina says, "Oh well, I would have done this and that," but I'm gonna tell you. A lot of times, the officer that goes out to the scene, he'll drive up and down the road with his light out on the side of the road, seeing maybe if there's a guy walking down the road, or he'll go way down the road and check because he probably thinks he was drunk, he wrecked the car, and you know, we're just going to check for him. And if the officer's not on his toes, or if he's not, um, if he's not on his toes, he would have missed all that like he did. So I'm not saying that the nobody can't check for drugs. They checked the drugs they found, though. There was a rumor that came out there was a large amount of narcotics in the backpack, but the police have said that rumor is not true. Only marijuana that they found. There was a small amount of marijuana, and they got it and seized it, which, I would test that to find out if it was laced. That's what I would do. Um, Carol, I don't know. There's no indication that that's what happened unless you know something that I don't. Drugs could have been placed at the scene, taken. Joyce, I don't know if that. I've never heard of anything like that. I can just tell you from my experience. That's all I can do is tell you from my experience. I don't know. we can all make hypotheticals and maybe and say this stuff, but you know what? Unless we know for sure that your guess is as good as mine. I can tell you it from an investigative officer at this point, what I would suggest, and what I'm going to reach out to the dad too to try to get him on here. I'm going to suggest to that dad that he tries to get that police department to test the marijuana to find out if it was laced with anything. And, talk to his friends too. They could talk to his friends and find out if they ever smoked while they were driving. Is that something they do, or could anybody tell them, if this is normal? Yeah, the body is the issue. I mean, I tell you where I hope, we should hope. Yeah, I agree, Brittany. We should hope that he's found alive, that maybe hit his head and doesn't understand who he is, amnesia and all that. I'm afraid it's not going to be that good. I'm afraid they're going to find him deceased, that he froze to death out there, or he's hidden somewhere and froze to death. So, but we'll follow this, and hopefully we'll hope and pray for the best, of course. And maybe we can get the dad on and try to find out some details that about the case. If we have the dad on, I'm going to ask you to please don't make any false accusations or like talk about organ trafficking and all this other stuff. I don't believe that is the case. I'll be honest with you. I don't know about that stuff. I just don't think that we need to talk about that. Yeah, PCP does make you feel, a lot of it makes you feel like your body's crawling with bugs, so they want to take everything off of them. But we'll need mods out heavy because we just want to make sure that we do treat his father with respect and not give him any type of false information. We'll need to treat him with respect. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, listen, I'm going to let y'all go. We're up here in Tennessee, like we said. Dina's at her dad's cleaning the kitchen. I'm going to get some things done in the RV. My wife's got her doctor's appointment tomorrow. Say a little prayer for her. I think everything's going to be fine, but we believe in prayer. And we want to, everybody please remember her in prayer. And just trying to eliminate some stuff, we're not sure what's going on, but we want to eliminate it. We're not spraying chickens no more, and we got to make sure we keep up with everything. But we've had a great time this weekend, and we love you, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night, and then on Friday, and maybe something will have some great information about some positive information that's coming out of these cases. Every night I check to try to hopefully we hear some good positive information that maybe somebody's been found alive. That's what we hope. And but we'll do that. So I'm gonna play a little thing here of my pups, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. We should be back at our house tomorrow night, and we hope everybody is fine. We love you, and God bless you.
Go get wood. Go get wood. Come on. Get the wood. Bring it here, Maggie. Bring it here. Good girl. Let's load it in the fire. Good girl. Look at you. Man, can you take it in the house? Come on. Take it in the house. Come on. Bring it in. Oh, almost. Can you get it? Can you get it? Bring it in. Get your wood and bring it in. Jojo won't leave you alone. Get your wood and bring it in. Get the wood. No, Jojo's